But I'm worried that if we see in the news presentations of single cases as heralded being something that I have never seen before, this is so horrible, that's the worst case of severe respiratory distress syndrome that I have seen, we are falling into a trap of sensationalism. I mean, can you imagine what would have happened if 60 million deaths that happen every year in this planet, we had a meter counting them one by one and having stories written for each one of them? It would be horrible. I mean, we have gone into a complete panic state, measuring so far a sizable number of deaths, but nothing close to the total cumulative mortality that we see both in this country and around this world.
So that's Professor Ioannidis, who is at Stanford Medical School, is an epidemiologist, world-class epidemiologist, based on all the stuff that you can read about him online. And he's saying we're giving into panic here, that this has gotten to be not helpful. This is too far, that all of these news stories, and you keep seeing this happening. There'll be a news story, a healthy 40-year-old dies, and then they talk about the family, and it's terrible, right? Every death is terrible. But then you read deeper into it and you find, okay, well, the healthy 40-year-old, and then the news media keeps doing this because they know everyone's going to click on it because we've been told that there's higher risk factors for certain people. Now, that doesn't change how much we care about defending anyone. It's just a question of how can we assess the measures necessary. We need to protect vulnerable populations, and that's going to continue for a long time. But what do we do with the much less vulnerable population that has to go about economic activity, just activity in general, in order to give the best possible chance to defeat this virus and let all people breathe more easily in the shortest possible time so that we don't have to keep worrying about this, including our particularly vulnerable populations. But you see this news story and they'll say healthy 40-year-old dies, and then you'll click in it. And this, I've done this so many times now that I don't even click it on anymore. And you'll look down a little bit and it'll say, well, you know, he actually, he had, you know, type 2 diabetes and had asthma. And you say, okay, now that's a life just like every other life that's being lost here. It's precious. This person has loved ones, and it's a loss that shouldn't have happened, right? We all think we should have been able to stop this from happening. All right, but why did the media like to run the story of somebody who's, you know, healthy 40-year-old? When you click on it, this is another person who is at high risk. We lost another brother, we lost another sister here who's from the high risk population. But why misrepresent that? Because everyone's panicking and everyone will click right away. It's even worse than I thought. That's the mentality that the media keeps going for. It's even worse than I thought. And they're exploiting this. And to people who say, well, you know, they get into this really marinating deeply in all the disturbing emotions here and the sadness and the agony of losing our fellow Americans. Are they indicating that is there something that's more sad about someone dying from COVID-19 than another individual of the same age with a family and kids, or it's a single person? It doesn't matter. It's a human life, right? A person who dies of heart disease is one of these things more, because it seems like there's now an elevation of this, of the deaths. And this is what Dr. Ioannidis is saying here. There's an elevation of this that's occurring for purposes that are not helpful, except to get a lot of clicks for the media and to drive a panic narrative. And I think increasingly, and this is a little early in this phase, but we will see more of it. It'll become more apparent, and I'll probably have to replay this clip for you in about 2 months, that there will be people who, no matter what the reality is here of all the numbers, the death toll, hospitalizations, they will be very invested in the story that this was the most horrific thing to happen in 100 years and that it's all Donald Trump's fault.
Hey, Team Buck, thank you so much for watching The First on YouTube. If you like this video, please click that little thumbs up button so then it will log as liked. And also, if you want to see more great content from The First, please click subscribe.